In Las Vegas. It's Friday and the 27th of April, and we've got three NBA basketball games tonight, and we got a full card of baseball, and of course we got playoff basketball all weekend. We've got the big story in the hockey is the Vegas Golden Knights. Hank Goldberg's joining me from Florida. Hank, they won 7-0 last night. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I had a great time last night going back and forth between the draft and the basketball game and the Pittsburgh game in hockey. I took Pittsburgh for the series, and I think they're going to beat Washington without too much trouble. They're very good. So Pittsburgh, Las Vegas final, you looking for that?
I'm not much. Everybody in Vegas is pretty high on what's going on here with the Knights. Not that I know anything about hockey. I don't. I've been to 3 hockey games in my life. All of those were in Canada, and it's exciting. I mean, this place is going crazy over this team, and rightfully so. It's a remarkable story for an expansion team to go this far and be this good. I mean, they just are amazing. We got some issues going on in basketball. They're talking about Stephen Curry coming back and playing this weekend. What do you think about that? You think he's going to play?
I don't think he'll play much if he does play. And I don't think he'll be a big factor if he does play either. And I think I'm interested to see just how good that the New Orleans team is, and if they can give them a battle, because they're good. And I'm looking forward to that series. I'll tell you something that bugs me a little bit, and that is that I had the right side in the Cleveland-Indiana game. Indiana got the cover, but Indiana should have won that game. When I watched that game, that looked like a goaltend to me. LeBron got that block at the end of the game. And I'll tell you something else. When on LeBron's three-point shot, he was set up on an illegal screen that should have been called. But Cleveland got a gift, and I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana beat him tonight. Indiana's playing better ball than they are, and we'll see. But I think Cleveland got they got a free pass. They should have been down going into this game tonight.
You're right, and I totally agree with you on everything you said. There was one factor. I also have a criticism of the Indiana coach. They had another foul to give at the end, and he didn't use it. And I don't understand that. LeBron never should have gotten that shot off. They should have fouled immediately.
Well, they couldn't get to him. They tried to get to him, but it was an illegal screen that they set up for him. They were trying to foul him, and that's what happened. That's how he got the throw.
Well, that's good. That's a good explanation. I guess that's the reason. But anyway, we've got 3 games tonight. You've got Toronto, Washington, Cleveland, Indiana, and Oklahoma City, Utah. I have to bring up this Utah-Oklahoma City game. What the hell happened to Utah in that second half? I mean, they just totally... Well, they forgot how to play, and then the other side just got absolutely red hot. And Westbrook, who we know is a monster talent. He's a great talent. Maybe sometimes out of control, doesn't play team game very well, but that was an amazing performance by Oklahoma City in that last quarter and a half.
I couldn't believe that Utah blew a big lead like that. But we'll see what happens tonight. I think they're a 6-point favorite last time I looked.
Yeah, I actually the Utah they're 6.5, and it's everywhere 6.5. That just seems like it's too big a line. This is a closeout game. Um, Oklahoma City got a lot of confidence off what happened the other day. That's just too many points in my book. If I were to bet that game, and I still may, I would take the dog there. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but I think that's going to be a hell of a dogfight between those two. And, the strong likelihood, if Utah plays good defense, that point spread will even percentage-wise be higher, percentage-wise, and it just seems like too many points to me.
Well, we'll see which Oklahoma City team shows up tonight, but I have to take Oklahoma City because I have Utah for the series.
Okay.
So I've got a good chance for a middle tonight.
Yeah, win by 1-6, and you win both ways. That's a good idea. Indiana has played very well. Oladipo has kind of fallen off a cliff as far as his shooting performance after what he did in Game 1.
Yeah, I wish he would on that last shot where he should have had the goaltending ball. He should have passed the ball off. He had other guys who were playing very well on that last drive. He had two open guys that he could have that instead of driving into two defenders. And I thought that he screwed up a little bit on that play. He's a little bit selfish with the ball. He thinks he can shoot his way out of a shooting slump, and he has not shot all that well his last 3 games, and they've done okay without him. So it's bothersome to me that he is not. He's been off in his free throw shooting too.
Yeah, true. And you got this Toronto-Washington series. It's been a totally home team series, which is the same thing with Boston and Milwaukee. The home team has won every game in both those series.
Well, I need Milwaukee because I got them for the series. I think that's going to be a good game. I'll look forward to that one. But tonight's game, I think the home teams are in pretty good shape tonight. Washington, you got to go with them at home. Indiana, and I'm going with them at home too. I think Indiana is just a better team than Cleveland right now, and I don't see Cleveland going anywhere. Even if they get by Indiana, I think they're in trouble. They don't have a setup man. LeBron did everything in that game the other night. I mean, he was he just took the ball himself, and he wasn't looking to pass the ball. He was looking to do it all, and he can do that.
He's an amazing player. There aren't too many people that have ever played the game of basketball at the level that he's playing. Absolutely incredible athlete. Once in a lifetime to see somebody like that. And now we have last night.
I got to tell you something interesting about the draft from the standpoint of what happened to Miami. Miami got a very good player in Fitzpatrick from Alabama. He is a very good player. But they were looking to get a quarterback if they could get one. And Arizona traded up one pick ahead of them and got Rosen. They could have had Rosen if it wasn't for that trade. And Miami's general manager is a dope, and he's ineffective, and he's bad. And he screwed up the Jets big time, and he's done nothing for the Dolphins. And he's ineffective. And any general manager worth his salt, when Rosen is sitting there and their turn comes up, should have been able to pull off a deal. And instead, Arizona beat him to Rosen. Everybody's kind of happy that they got a real good defensive player in Fitzpatrick, and he is good. He's a leader. He's smart. He was a leader on that Alabama defense. He's a playmaker. But Rosen was sitting there. He had dropped down to one pick ahead of them, and they missed him. Inexcusable.
Hank, what? There were six quarterbacks taken. Five quarterbacks taken. Are you optimistic about any of them being really successful?
Yeah, I think Jackson is going to be successful. And I think that Baltimore. This is Ozzie Newsome's last draft, and he traded into that last pick in the first round, and took Jackson, who was still there. And Jackson is going to be able to sit, behind Flacco for a year or two. Like Flacco's next year is the last year of his contract, and Jackson's in a great position. He comes in there, got Morningwood for a coach, and Jackson is, I think, a very talented guy. And his style of play is the style of play that's working now in the NFL. So he gets to sit for a year behind Flacco. Remember, he was a Heisman Trophy winner a year ago. He's got a lot of talent. And there were a lot of people who thought that he was the second coming of the Clemson guy from a year ago. So he's a tremendous athlete. He played for a coach at Louisville who's a real tough guy, who's very good at developing quarterback talent. And he might very well turn out to be the best guy of the five. He landed in a good spot.
Well, he definitely.
I know he thought he should have gone earlier, but he landed in a good spot.
He definitely did land in a good spot. And, I see Cleveland took Baker Mayfield. I'm not going to sit and say I know how to evaluate quarterbacks. I know when they took Manziel, I didn't like that. I thought he was, the college quarterback, really good one, but didn't have the upside to be a pro. And then, of course, all his off-field bad behavior carried over to the pros. I don't see that happening with Mayfield. I think he's a little bit more solid in respect to his character and behavior. But he is shorter. Which is a problem in the NFL. But there are some great shorter quarterbacks, but they're also great athletes too. So what do you think about that first round, that first selection? Do you think that Cleveland could have done better with that pick? Should they have taken?
I don't know. I watched Mayfield play a lot. He's a winner. He won a lot of games, and I think he's a cocky guy. I like his attitude. I think that I think he's got a swagger that doesn't bother me, and I think the other players will respond to him. I think they'll want to play for him, and I think that's important. I like him better than the Southern Cal quarterback. I thought Darnold should have stayed another year in school. He's erratic. He threw 22. He had 22 interceptions in the last 2 years. And I'll tell you, who made an interesting point about him? Rex Ryan said that in addition to the fact that he's turnover prone, he has a very slow delivery. He drops back and takes his time. And he said it's hard to coach a guy out of that. He's he's got a very slow release. And that may not be so good. I'll say this, though. The Jets have Jeremy Bates as offensive coordinator, and he's very good with quarterbacks, and, he can sit for a while, too. But, he's 20 years old, and I guess he can develop. I remember I told you on Wednesday that Rosen, his father is a little bit of an issue. He comes from a very wealthy family. His father is a major medical figure in Philadelphia, and his mother is a brilliant woman too. But I understand that his father is a little bit can be a little bit annoying, and he comes on after he's drafted and talks about how he should have been taken ahead of the two guys who were taken ahead of him. But he may be the most talented of all these guys. You know, he's got a good arm. He's very smart. He'll pick up things fast. And Arizona, you know, traded up to get him, like I said. And they got ahead of Miami to pick him up. And, you know, like I said, he doesn't have to play right away. You know, Arizona's got, you know, two quarterbacks ahead of him. And so, you know, he can take some time to learn, too. And he's going to be playing for a very good offensive coordinator in Arizona who's very good with quarterbacks. And he didn't get great coaching at Southern Cal.
Well, that's true. How long do you think it's going to take the Browns to put Mayfield on the field?
A week.
That long, huh? So you
I think he'll be the starter at the beginning of the season. I think he's going to get thrown out there.
Wow. Well, that's an interesting move to come into the pros and try to read defenses. I hope he's really smart.
I'll tell you who got the best player in the draft for offense was the Giants. You know, and the Giants stuck to taking, you know, Barkley, the running back from Penn State. And if their offensive line can come together, the Giants are going to be a big factor. This guy can really play. And
I felt that
he's a great kid. He's a great kid, and he can do it all. He's a good receiver out of the backfield, and you look at film of that guy, highlights of him, and how he can turn it on. He's a tremendous runner. He really is good. I'll tell you something else too. Denver did not take a quarterback as some people thought they would. They went for Chubb, and you got Chubb. They're going to be the San Diego of this year with those two pass rushers, one on either side. Who do you double up on? And Chubb is going to be he's going to be really good. Their defense is going to be tough to handle with those two outside pass rushers.
Well, Denver's focused on defense the last couple of years, and it's paid off for them with that Super Bowl win a couple of years ago. And if they get any kind of quality quarterbacking and running game on the offensive side, they're going to be very tough. There's no question.
I'll tell you, the Chargers got a very good guy in Derwin James to further help their defense along.
You know, when you mentioned what's the running back out of Penn State, it slipped my mind. Who the Giants? Barkley, yes. I thought the Browns made a mistake, and this is what I would have done if I were them. You never know if a quarterback's going to make it in the league, but you know Barkley's going to be there, and you know he's going to be really good. Barring injuries, I think he's going to be a star. I think they should have taken Barkley in the one position and waited to the fourth position to take a quarterback, because they're all projects, but Barkley isn't. And I think that was a mistake on their part, not taking him, because he was the best player, offensive player out there. And pretty much guaranteed to be the best offensive player out there. These other quarterbacks...
Well, the Browns have a couple of decent running backs. They may not be in his category, but they're decent at running back position.
Yeah, they are decent, but this kid looks to be more than decent. That's what I'm trying to say. I thought he was the best offensive player out there, and they should have taken him. But Cleveland is known for, kind of going the opposite direction. I mean, this is the same team that drafted Manziel a couple of years ago, number one. However,
well, like I said, this is a different regime there. They've got totally new management group there, and I think this guy's a little smarter than what they've had there before.
Anything in baseball that interesting to you that's been going on? I know the Cleveland went, or not Cleveland, Boston went on the West Coast trip, and they started to slow down a little bit, which is, I mean, they're normal. They're not going to win 90% of their games all year long. Had a
big series coming up with the Yankees and the Angels. That'll be interesting to see. Yankees have been, they're only 3.5 games behind the Red Sox right now. So maybe there'll be a race after all in that division.
there will be.
Stanton has started to hit a little bit, but Stanton's not the key to anything. But the Yankees have some good pitching, and they've been coming back and winning some games. And meanwhile, my Marlins have won a couple of games since we talked last, and I think that they've got some decent pitching, and they've got some guys coming back off the injured list, and I'm beginning to think they're going to win in the high 50s.
Yeah,
they've got some decent young players.
The other night when Kershaw was a 4-1 favorite and he lost to the Marlins was probably the story of the week, at least from a betting standpoint. It just shows you that if you're out there laying 300 or 400 to 1 on any of these pitchers, you're crazy. It's just not.
I guess the big story, the other big story was that Cincinnati brought up their 20-year-old phenom, and he hit a home run in his first game. So not that Cincinnati's going anywhere, but there's a lot of good young talent in baseball right now. And the weather is getting good. It was good. They had nice weather in New York for their game yesterday, so maybe they'll be able to go without so many rainouts. But other than that, it's I think there's going to be some good races down the line. The Giants are decent. The Dodgers are a little bit disappointing. They're not hitting all that well. I think it's a little early to start pegging some of these teams. The Astros are good.
Astros are good. Cleveland is good, but they're not hitting the ball either. They're only averaging a little over 3 runs a game, and that's not good enough. But they got their ace going today, Kluber, at 275, opening today over Ramirez in Seattle. It's like I said, that's not a line I lay. But if you're going to play that kind of game, I lay the 1.5. But I don't like laying 1.5 with home teams, because they only get 8 at bats if they're ahead. So that's kind of I do it, but I don't like doing it. There's some, not to mention, the Detroit Tigers have started to come on a little bit and winning a couple games, which is kind of surprising because nobody really expected them to do anything. It's pretty interesting stuff, and baseball season is really exciting. And now that the weather is getting better, we're not going to have so many postponements, hopefully, and things will get better. Minnesota's got to figure out how to win a game. They've lost 7 in a row, so they got to wake up.
Kansas City's not doing too well either.
That's a match made in heaven right there. Kansas City against the White Sox. 2 bad teams. Kansas City's awful. That's an awful baseball team, no question about it. Anyway, Hank, I thank you for taking time for the podcast today, and I hope you have a great weekend, and pick lots of winners. And all of your plays.
Tuesday will be the Kentucky Derby draw. A couple of horses have gotten in. Asmussen, as I told you, I've got one of his horses in, who's a pretty decent closer, and I think he was 3rd in the Arkansas Derby. Might be a factor. I'll tell you something. I talked to some guys who have been watching this horse, and Bill Bott's horse is lightly raced, has a shot, but I'll tell you, I did a talk show and oh yeah, I'll tell you what's going to happen on Monday. The Supreme Court is going to vote on gambling for legalizing sports betting. That's going to be on the docket for Monday.
Well,
Keep an eye on that.
I sure hope that happens. I've had my fingers crossed about that for about 20 years, but you know, one of these days it will happen, and maybe Monday's the day. We got to open up that floodgate, just like we've done with marijuana around the country, and we should bring it over here. I mean, if you ever did any traveling to other countries like Europe and stuff, and England, and where it is legal, you know that it's totally regulated, and as long as they don't overprice it, you know, with that integrity tax and all the other stuff they're talking about. Anyway, I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's say that.
I was in Amsterdam in the early 70s, and we had a very good time there. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
No, I spent quite a bit of time in the UK, and there's a bookmaker on every corner, and there's no problem with it whatsoever.
No, I'm talking about marijuana.
Oh, marijuana! No, there's no problem with that. No, not at all. No problem whatsoever. I mean, if you...
There was no crime either.
There's a lot of reasons for that, but the you know, the gambling part of it, people do it. They're always going to do it. They're either going to do it legally or illegally, and how many prisons can you build to put people away for victimless crimes? And you know, anyway, I'm not going to get on a soapbox about it, but they should have been legalized a long time ago. Anyway, Hank, we're running out of time. Thank you for today, and Hank's picks and my picks are at jimfeist.com. So thanks, guys. Thank you, Hank.
All right, Jim. Have a good weekend.